You want to make money using Instagram, using social media, and you're dying to know how to do that without coming across as salesy. If you've ever tried to sell something on Instagram, you've probably noticed something like this, which is incredibly frustrating, especially if you've spent a boatload of time investing in building your following, and you're doing so because you want to spread your message and you'd like to be able to monetize your time on social media. Well, you're in luck, because today I'm going to break down for you exactly what it takes to monetize your Instagram. In other words, how to make money using Instagram. Thanks so much for joining me today on Build Your Tribe, where I'm going to break this down as quickly as possible, the basics of how the right way in 2024 to make money using Instagram. All right, let's get right to it. How to make money using Instagram, or in other words, how are people making money on Instagram? Well, the very first thing that you have to do is identify what is your money maker. And notice I use the word makers, plural, because a lot of the top earning social media influencers, or people who are using social media and earning an income from it, are using more than just one thing to monetize their Instagram. So let's talk about what that could look like. First of all, there's your influence, meaning if you've got a decent sized following, which can be as little as 1,000 people or even 100 people. If you've got influence, which means people trust you, people like you, they've come to know you, and because of that, you are able to influence them, that is something you can monetize. It's probably one of the most valuable things, and one of the most important things for you to protect is your reputation, your trust. People often will also sell digital products, physical products, affiliates or partnerships are other ways that you can monetize your Instagram, as well as network marketing and professional services. So whether it is you're a consultant or someone who's doing coaching, those are also considered professional services. But there's also, you could be a virtual assistant. There's so many things that you can monetize. Basically anything that you can sell, anything that people need, anything that would help people, anything that people want to buy, anything that people want is something that you could use your Instagram to monetize. But step one is to figure out, what is it you're trying to monetize? That really matters, because if you don't know what it is you're going to monetize, it's really hard to know your next steps. You have to know what you want to monetize in order to know how to create content that's going to attract the person that wants a thing that you have to sell or to offer, right? I think that would make sense. So the second step in figuring out how to monetize your Instagram is understanding you've got to optimize your account for monetization. And it's funny how many people miss this step. I can't tell you how many times I've had somebody reach out to me and they will say, I can't figure out how to grow my business using Instagram. I'll go and click on their account and they're private, or it really looks more like a personal account than it does a business account. So step one is make sure that you are either a creator or a professional account on Instagram. Then make sure that your bio has been optimized. In other words, and this is something that we break down in complete detail for our members in the InstaClubHub. So Brock and I, my son, we have a huge community of people who are doing exactly what it is you're trying to do, which is figure out how to make money using Instagram without feeling salesy, to do it in a way that feels organic. And one of the easiest, most important things you need to do is to optimize your bio. That means when someone glances at your bio, it tells people what it is you post, and it's kind of a representation of what people can expect if they begin to follow you. In other words, that's the first thing people glance at when they decide if in fact they want to follow you. You also need to make sure that your account has been niched. So if you're someone who's offering, let's say, virtual assistant services, but your account is all over the place, like you talk about dietary suggestions and you're also posting pictures of your last vacation, your niche is not defined. And so it's going to be really hard to monetize your account. Next, you've got to make sure that you've got a growth strategy in place. And that growth strategy means you've got at least 30 days of content, that your content matches your niche, that your niche matches the promise of your bio, and that your account is both a professional and or, so not both, is either a professional and or creator account. And then you've got to post consistently. And that content that you're posting consistently is part of the way that you show up, because no matter how many people are following you, there's only a small percentage that are going to see the majority or even one of your posts. So you've got to do it consistently to really maximize the potential of reaching as many people as are following you. That consistency also tells people that they can count on you, that you're good for it. That's how we want to show up and build that trust with the people who have decided to follow us. Step 3 is you've got to create conversations. Everybody wants to know how to sell using Instagram. And the truth of the matter is, nobody is going to fall for being sold to. I think of selling to somebody, and I know some people, I love the fact that people buy from me, but I don't want to sell anybody. I want to have a conversation. I want to explain things because I don't want to be sold. I don't want to feel like someone's talked me into something that I don't need, can't afford, or it's just not right for me. And the only way that someone who has something to offer would know that is if they've given me enough information that's specific to me. And that happens with conversations. Conversations are the key to monetizing Instagram. Now, the way I want you to think about conversations is to think about the word care. So we're going to do this by creating curiosity, answering questions, relating to people, and educating them. And when I say educate, that could also mean entertaining. It's like giving them the information that they need to make an informed decision. And that's how we build trust. We don't ever want to talk someone into something that they're not sure if it's the right thing for them. So think of that. When I talk about conversations, think about the word care. Okay. So what do I mean by conversations? I mean building trust through conversations that can happen when people are able to ask you questions, specifically in the DMs. And I'm certain you're probably thinking to yourself, how in the heck will I ever have the time to answer people's individual questions? Well, we're going to share with you some great tips on how to do this very quickly. Some great conversation hacks that I want you to keep in mind is number 1, the first line of your caption. The first line of your caption should always be a call to action. So we don't read anymore. When you're writing your captions out for Instagram, keep that in mind. First of all, captions are truncated, which means if you look at somebody's post, you're not seeing that long caption that we used to see anyways. You're seeing not even the full first sentence. So for that reason, your very first sentence needs to tell people what to comment, or it needs to ask a question so that the first thing, which may be the only thing that they read, encourages a conversation. Does that make sense? The second thing that you want to think about is your call to action, CTA. In other words, your CTA is again, in your first line of your caption. It should also be written in most of your reels in the text or the font that shows up on the screen. Another way to get conversations started is by using polls and stickers in your stories. These create engagement. They create a back and forth. It feels like communication. So when I'm asking you a question like, do you feel like you're short on time and there's so many administrative things that you need to get to, but you just don't have the time and you wish you could clone yourself? Yes or no? Okay, now we're having a dialogue. Now I'm not just talking at you, you're actually sharing feedback with me using sticker polls where I can say, list for me the one thing that you never feel like you have enough time to get to it. Whether it's, just give them some examples. You can say, is it creating captions for your Instagram? Is it returning your emails? Is it going through your, whatever it is, giving them some prompts and then putting up a sticker on your Instagram stories so that they can actually tell you in their words what their struggle is. Let's say, for example, I am a health coach and I want to hear from my audience, what is it they're struggling with? Maybe the words that I use are not the words that they use. So by putting up a sticker on my stories, not only am I having a dialogue with my followers, but I'm also understanding the language that they're using and what their problems are and what their struggles are. And when we have conversations, think about it. That's when we start to trust people, right? anytime somebody answers a question for you, you immediately feel like a little bit of a connection with them. And statistically, we know that people, when they have conversations with anyone on Instagram, the percentage of sales is so much higher versus someone who's just being sent a link or being sold to. We want to have conversations. Now, these conversations can, if you're thinking to yourself like, oh my gosh, if I get a ton of followers, when will I have the time? I want to spend less time on Instagram. My friends, enter DM automation. DM automation is such a game changer. Oh my, it's going to blow your mind. It is going to blow your mind how much time it's going to save, how much more effective you're going to be, how much more clear you're going to be able to respond to people, how much more thorough you're going to be, and you're going to be able to spend so much less time on Instagram. I want you to be able to monetize Instagram without having to spend a ton of time there. So I'm going to give you more specific examples of how to use direct message automation to monetize, to massively increase the amount of money that you're making on Instagram. Okay, so let's get excited about that. Okay, let's talk DM automation. By the way, if you are an InstaClubHub member, because I know some of you are watching right now, we have a complete training that will show you how to set this up. The program that we use is called ManyChat. It is API approved for Instagram. Now, a lot of these third-party plugins you don't want to use on Instagram because they could get you banned. I have no affiliation with them. It has just saved and changed my life. Like, it has completely revolutionized my business and my time by using ManyChat. And again, it is approved by Instagram. So you can use it so easily by asking your followers to comment a word. They can comment a word either in response to one of your stories or under a post on, let's say, your latest reel or something you've made to your feed. And when they comment that word, it automatically sends people a very specific response. And what I love about this is it allows you to know who you can follow up with. When I just am posting, say, for example, click on this link if you want more information about my weight loss services, or click on this link sticker if you want the rates that I offer for virtual assistant work. Like, fill in the blank for whatever it is you are trying to monetize. When you put up a link sticker, you have no idea who clicked on it. You're not having a conversation. But when someone sends a word to you, now you have a thread. Now you have a way in which to follow up with people who are interested. And you're having dialogue or communication, if you will. Okay, so DM automation is something that you can use. Again, ManyChat, it's pretty simple to set up. I like to use a flow. If you want to see an example of it, just go to my Instagram, which is at Chalene Johnson, and send me the word fat loss. And you'll see, and even if you're not interested, you'll see what that flow looks like. But again, if that's something you're like, I don't know how to set that up, I don't understand anything that you're talking about. For those of you who are interested in learning specifically how to do this, there is a training for you inside the InstaClubHub. So for those of you who are members, check that out. For those of you who are not members, why aren't you a member? It's like the best place for anyone who's trying to really monetize Instagram. All right. So the next thing that you want to know is, after you've set up DM automation, you then need to figure out like what's working and what's not working. You can't just post content, write a caption, ask people to respond, and then go, well, it's not working, so I guess I'm the problem. You have to know that Instagram, and I know this is like bad news for some people, but it really shouldn't be. If you are truly dedicated to growing your business and you want to use social media to do that, especially free social media, like we're not even talking about running ads. This is how you can grow your Instagram without having to run ads. Now, I love running ads too, but for most people, they're like, I can't even afford to do that yet. Well, if you are trying to do this organically, then you just have to commit to knowing that Instagram changes all the time. And what works this month might not work next month. And that's why you don't have to be the expert at Instagram. But I highly encourage you to, if you're serious about this, to make an investment in somebody who can help you understand what is working and what isn't working, because it's often changing. And today, that's what I'm doing. I'm sharing with you the same things that we teach our InstaClubHub members, like what is working today. And what's working today, I'm going to share with you specific examples of. And I think you're going to like this stuff. Let me pull my slides back up for you. Okay. But that's really important. I want you to make a mental commitment to the fact that you have to regularly be looking and saying, like, well, okay, is this working? And if it's not, what minor tweaks, don't throw in the towel, what minor tweaks do you need to make in order to start making money on Instagram? Okay, so I'm going to share with you what we call the ICH InstaClubHub feed post sales formula. Now, you can take a screenshot of this if you want, but don't worry. I'm going to walk you through each and every one of these steps and give you specific examples. So the first thing you want to start with is a hook. And a hook, the best way to say a hook is it's like the first thing that you hear or the first thing that you see, and it needs to grab people. Now, before and afters, I'm going to share with you this example is a great way to grab people's attention. Like, so for this specific example I'm sharing with you, the hook here was just an image. There's no words on the image that I posted, it's just a before and after. The second thing that your formula needs is your post needs to entertain or educate or inspire people. Now, in this particular example that I'm giving with you, that's not happening in the picture. That has to happen in the caption. So in my caption, I'm educating people. I'm telling them what's possible. Hopefully I'm inspiring them, and hopefully I am educating them as well. I'm also outlining the problem. The problem in this particular example is women who've had hormonal weight gain. They feel like they're doing everything right, but the weight is not coming off. So I'm relating to the problem. I'm also addressing the desire. The desire is, can you solve this problem for me? I'm doing the workouts. I feel like I'm eating right, but the weight is not freaking coming off. What is going on? So that's addressing the problem and perhaps the desired outcome. Then also in my caption is the possible solution. I'm going to tell them what they can do to solve this problem. And then lastly, and this is really important, is the call to action. The call to action in this particular caption, remember, it's the first sentence, right? Because why? Because people don't read oftentimes beyond the first sentence. So my first sentence needs to be the call to action. I'm telling them what to comment. The comment that I asked them to leave was the word fat loss. When they comment fat loss under my post, they're going to get an automated direct message that says, great, I love it. Thanks for asking. Here is the specific information that you requested. And that's where we can make the sale, or at least get them to take action. In this particular instance, I'm not selling them something. I'm encouraging them to take action by commenting the word fat loss. That's going to send them to a video on YouTube. That video on YouTube eventually is going to get them interested in a program that I offer. And that's the sale. So the sale is not always immediately like comment this word, boom, I get a sale. Sometimes it follows a sales, what we call a sales funnel. So I'm taking them through a journey. I'm building that trust. But you can also say, comment the word fat loss, and I could have sent them directly a direct message with the information on how to become automatically a member. They could have signed up right there. So it's really up to you what you want that sales funnel to look like. You can take people directly to a sale, or you can keep them on the journey, which I like to call the sales journey, where I'm giving them more information so they can make an informed decision. So in this particular example, what I did was just posted a video from a recent vacation. The hook is, first of all, the image, but it's also what I've written on the screen, which is comment doctor. Actually, that's not the hook. The hook is, you'll see it in just a second. Let me play it for you and you'll see the hook. The hook is, my doctor didn't have a clue about women's hormones, right? And so, you're seeing that, and then you're seeing, a woman who's older, that would be me, and in a bikini, which is, kind of unusual. And then here's the solution. So what I'm saying to them, this is the call to action, is comment doctor, and I'll share a list of questions that help me find the right doctor. So I'm addressing the problem. I'm hopefully grabbing them with the image and the sound. The hook is also the words that are on the screen. And then the very, very important call to action. I'm telling them what to comment. That's meaning that they're going to engage with this post. And that makes a huge difference. When people are engaging with your post, this means that not only is it's going to boost your content's going to get pushed out the more people who comment. And we're going to get a lot more comments when we tell people what to comment. And more specifically, we can then monetize by getting people to comment. Then I'm sending them a direct message, which again, I can send them a link to a video. I can send them a link to a sales page. I can send them a link to something that I offer. Okay, so let's go and see if we can't show you another example. Okay, check this out. So I don't know if you can tell, but on this particular reel, I had over 6,000 people like it. But look at the number of people who left a comment. I think this is remarkable. Over 6,400 people commented doctor. 6,400. More people asked or commented than they liked. And I think this is really important because I want you to know the vanity metrics are not nearly as important as the engagement. And the engagement is the conversations. Conversations create conversions. And the way to have conversations is by creating curiosity. It's that care, right? It's creating curiosity. It's answering questions. It's engaging with them. It's all of the things that get people to say like, oh, this is great. You got my attention. I'm curious. I have questions. You're going to respond. You're going to educate me. And then I get to make an informed decision. And that's how we monetize our social. Okay, so let me see if I can't share with you a few more examples. This is one of our students in the InstaClubHub, juicing recipes. This is just a very simple reel. She didn't even have to talk directly to camera. She's using words on the screen. This one highlight that still is on her page earned her over $30,000. Isn't that amazing? Again, she follows our recipe exactly as the formula as we lay it out. It's her recipe. We teach this formula inside the InstaClubHub. And I think this is a great example. I think probably the more examples you see, aside from just like my page or somebody else's, hopefully this is helpful. Here's another one. What I love about this specific example is she's not even in the post. This is what we call B-roll content. And people are reading it. She had over 200 people requesting that information. Again, it's by following the InstaClubHub formula. This is another one of our students. This is the mobility duo. They teach people how to stay injury-free who are snowboarders. They have grown their account. I can't even remember how many people now. Their account is huge. Go check them out. Give them a follow, you guys. Mobility duo, just to see how they're following this InstaClubHub formula. Over 100 comments. They built a 6-figure, very specific, very niched business helping snowboarders stay mobile and flexible even in the off season. So again, this could just be B-roll content. I love seeing examples with B-roll content. Now, if you've enjoyed this, but you also want to know how to make sales, not just on your Instagram feed, but on your stories, because frankly, a lot of people just watch stories. It's in our stories where our followers are getting to know us and really begin to trust us. So I'm a big fan of spending the majority of my time. I would say that probably 80% of the sales that I've made, and I've made millions of dollars using Instagram, have happened from my stories. I like stories. They take less time. They're more organic. They're fun to create. And there's a specific template that I like to teach when it comes to selling on Instagram stories. We share all of those templates. They're plug and play with our InstaClubHub members. So if you are an InstaClubHub member, please check those out there. They're waiting for you. You know, you get your customized calendar when you become an InstaClubHub member. All of these things make life so much easier. It takes out the guesswork. You don't have to figure this stuff out. You're an expert at your business. You don't need to be an expert at Instagram when you're an InstaClubHub member. If you're not one already, I encourage you to go to instaclubhub.com and take advantage of that opportunity right now. In the meantime, I want to say to you, keep these things in mind. And if you've enjoyed this video, please make sure that you like and make sure you subscribe. Make sure you hit the thumbs up button and make sure you subscribe to Build Your Tribe. But here's what, if you take away nothing else, I want you to remember this. It's about creating conversations. Today, the way that people used to sell like 5 years ago, even 3 years ago on Instagram, it doesn't work anymore. It turns people off. It's going to get you crickets. It's going to get you unfollowed. And you're going to think like, wait a second, what happened? How come I'm just not getting any more engagement? It's because you're probably using outdated tactics. People want to connect. They want a conversation. They want real. They don't want highly produced stuff. They don't want special graphics. It doesn't, like, the more real it is, the better your content's going to perform and the more conversions you're going to get. And those conversions happen with conversations. If you don't have time to have those one-on-one conversations, you got to automate. And again, I recommend ManyChat for that automation. Can you do it yourself? Of course. But once you get a certain amount of followers, why not invest in a program that can speed up the process for you? Unless, of course, you have a team that can do this for you. In the meantime, I just want you to know that it does take time. You've got to stay dedicated to know what is working, what isn't working. But don't give up. It is so worth it. It's so rewarding. But it does take persistence and patience. Hey, as always, it is my goal to be brief, to be bright, to make it fun, and then be done. Ladies and gentlemen, we are done. Thanks for being here. I'll see you next time.